So a huge debate that's been going on in the gaming community for the past couple of years, it's really started when the election season began, is should gaming channels be political? Should YouTube channels that are most known for their gaming content, should they be political? And there really is no yes or no answer to that question, at least as far as I'm concerned, because that's a very complicated question to answer. You can't just simply say, oh no, gamers under no circumstances should ever talk about anything that can be political. But on the other hand, you can't say yes, gamers should be political and no restriction should be on that. Like gamers should be able to talk about whatever political topic that they want. And when I say should, it's not can they, or are they able to? It's more of a philosophical question. Should gamers cover political topics without any repercussions, meaning that their subscribers or whoever follows them, their Twitch followers, whatever it may be, whatever medium they're on, should their fans be okay with them covering political topics, and should they receive no negative repercussions whatsoever if they decide to talk politics? So should they expect to not lose subscribers? Should they expect to have their fans still respect them when they cover controversial political topics? And so, again, this is not a simple yes or no answer, but I'm just going to tell you guys what I think, and it's kind of in the middle. So I do think that people, no matter what profession you have, no matter what industry you may be a part of, obviously politics affects much more than people who are in the broadcasting industry, people who are in the polling industry, whatever industry that conventional politics may be directly related to, business, something that politics obviously directly affects. Whatever policies are put in place obviously affect everybody, no matter what your profession is, no matter what you do for a living, no matter what it is that you may do. Obviously, politics affects everybody, and I do not think that people's right to be able to share their opinion, that should not be infringed. I obviously agree with that sentiment. I'm a huge First Amendment advocate. I don't think that employers should be allowed to fire people based on political affiliation. I don't think they should be able to fire you off over a Facebook post or anything like that. So I'm a huge supporter of the First Amendment. I don't think that the First Amendment should be restricted under pretty much any circumstances. Of course, I believe that there should be some limitations, like if you pull a fire alarm and try to say that's my freedom of speech if there's no fire. Obviously, I think that is an exception, but in most cases, I don't think free speech should be restricted at all. So I think people should be allowed to say whatever the hell they want, but that's not really what this is about. I just want to reiterate that I'm a huge supporter of the First Amendment. So, of course, I don't think that people who state their opinion should be persecuted for their beliefs. I never believe that. I think that no matter what you believe, whether you're a communist or whatever you are, I don't care. You have the right to say what you got to say, and I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm not going to call you a horrible person based on your political standings, unless, of course, one of your platform, is okay, like genocide or something like that. Then yeah, obviously I'm going to have a problem with that. But if you just have policies that you think are a good idea, and it may not be popular opinion, but as long as it's not something that calls for violence or anything like that, that's a whole different conversation, right? I think those people should be abhorred for their beliefs. But in most cases, I don't think people should be ostracized just for simply having a political opinion. No, I don't think that should be the case. I think everybody, no matter what your belief system is, no matter what profession you may have, I think everyone has a right to have a say and to share their personal beliefs on certain things. And that includes politics, that includes religion, anything. So when my favorite gaming YouTubers delve into politics, I don't get angry when they do that just for talking about something political. I don't get upset because they're gamers, they shouldn't be allowed to talk politics. That's not typically why I get angry at gaming YouTubers for talking about politics. Because usually when these YouTube celebrities, these gaming YouTubers talk about politics, in a lot of cases it's in a hostile manner. For example, Total Biscuit, that's just the first thing that pops into my head of gamer talking about politics, or just really any YouTuber, any gaming YouTuber that talked about the election and say, oh, if you're a Trump supporter, unsubscribe. People who do that kind of thing, that's really where I have a huge problem. When gaming YouTubers talk about politics in a hostile manner, when that's really when it frustrates me. And that goes with anything, with musicians that say, if you voted for Trump, don't listen to my music, or any YouTuber that says, if you voted for Trump, unsubscribe from me, or if you believe this, unsubscribe from me, that kind of thing. And then they complain when they get backlash, or when people actually do unsubscribe for them. Oh, I'm losing subscribers. Wah. Well, you kind of asked for it. You were being hostile against people who don't have the same opinion as you, and you kind of get what you deserve. So what Total Biscuit did, from my memory, this happened a while ago, like right after the election, so it's been a while. But when Trump won the election, Total Biscuit pretty much went on the Twitter tirade, pretty much ranting against all of his subscribers that voted for Trump, and how stupid this country is for voting for Trump. So that's really the problem I have, because a lot of gaming YouTubers are guilty for this when they talk about politics. They get very hostile, they're very biased, they're very one-sided. That's another thing. They refuse to hear anybody else's opinion. When they talk about something and people try to, their subscribers try to debate them on something, they just either double down or they just completely ignore them. So that's another big problem, really. And that's really the only instance that I can think of when someone in the YouTube gaming community talks about politics and there's a huge backlash against them. Because in most cases, when there's backlash against them, they usually deserved it, right? If a gaming YouTuber talks about Trump or talks about healthcare, something that's not directly related to gaming, and they obviously, their subscribers don't necessarily agree with them, but then this YouTuber also says, well, if you don't agree with my values, then you should unsubscribe from me. If you voted for Trump, unsubscribe. Yeah, of course people are going to have a fucking problem with that. Or if you try to look down on people who voted the other way than you did and don't have the same opinion as you do, then of course there's going to be backlash. Because most of these YouTubers that talk about politics, they're very egotistical. They think that they have more power than their subscribers do in terms of voting. They think they actually have political influence because they might have a large fan base on the internet, so they think that they have power. They might have power when it comes to pop culture, if they have millions and millions of subscribers. But if you are a YouTuber and you have millions of subscribers, don't expect to have a huge political influence. Because I remember during the election when all these gaming YouTubers were talking about politics and were saying vote for Hillary, or not just gaming YouTubers, it was just YouTubers in general that aren't known for politics, but all of a sudden we're talking about the election like they're political experts all of a sudden. And we're saying, oh, they were trying to act like they knew what was best for the country, and that anybody that was subscribed to them that had a different opinion, any of their fans that had a different opinion than them, they don't know what they're talking about. I have millions of subscribers, so I know what I'm talking about. That's pretty much the mentality that these YouTubers had. So that's really, honestly, what the underlying problem is with gamers talking about politics, is that, for one, you shouldn't expect people to give a fuck about your political opinion if you are not a political channel, if you are not known for your politics. If you are a gamer, and that's what you've been doing for the past decade, a lot of these YouTubers have been around for a long time, so if you've been doing gaming-related content for almost 10 years, and that's what you're famous for, don't expect, when you talk about politics, for people to be like, oh, for people to be okay about that. Or for people to not be like, we don't give a shit, or just simply say, look, you have your opinion or whatever, but we just don't give a fuck, right? We don't care about your politics. And don't try to force it down our throats. And that's the problem here. Most of these YouTubers that get criticism for talking about politics, it's mostly self-inflicted. They really inflicted that on themselves for getting all that backlash. I don't feel bad for them. They either look down upon people who vote the other way, or they expect people to care about their political opinion when really they just care about what they're known for their gaming, for what they have to think, what they have to say about the industry. Now, if it's political and it has to do if it's directly involved with the gaming industry, so net neutrality, that's a political topic that would affect the gaming industry because it affects internet, right? Or if it's certain political elements of a certain game, Like, for example, if there's a group of factions in a video game, and each faction represents a certain political viewpoint, then of course it's okay for them to talk about that. But when you're playing Call of Duty and people are interested in your gameplay or what you think about the game, and then you all of a sudden go on a tirade about Obamacare or whatever, then of course you should expect people to be annoyed at the very least about that. If you love talking about politics so much, make a fucking politics channel on YouTube. Try to separate it. Because people don't necessarily give a fuck about your politics. That's what I did. I have a separate political channel on YouTube. That channel has much less subscribers than this one. And that's for a reason. Because I have 3,000 people subscribed to my gaming channel and only about 400 subscribed to my political channel. So that means that 2,600 of my fans don't give a fuck about what I have to say about healthcare or about social issues or whatever it may be. So, yeah, get the fucking message, people. People aren't going to care about your politics just because you're famous, just because you have some kind of influence. That doesn't automatically mean that people are going to give a shit about your political views and not be upset if you go out and say that people who voted for Trump or whatever it may be are bad people or should unsubscribe from you, or you look down on them in some kind of way. You try to, when you do talk about politics, you're very hostile about it. And you get mad when there's backlash against you for being hostile to your own fucking subscribers. What do you expect, jackass? Of course people are going to be fucking angry about that.